What's going on, Meeting Gold listeners? It's Chris Battaglia, 416 Coffee, best fucking coffee in the world. Use the coupon code Meeting Gold to get 10% off your first order at 416 Coffee. Enjoy the show.
There's statistics that show approximately 70% of lottery winners are broke within 5 years of winning the lottery.
To win huge amounts of money in the lottery, you have to be lucky. To keep your life in order after winning that money, you have to be skillful.
The lottery curse is a real thing.
This next story is about a moment people daydream about, hitting the lottery jackpot.
Well, perhaps all of us have at one time or another dreamed of hitting it big in the lottery.
I wasn't saying I was living a horrible life, but it wasn't a free life.
There's a lot of publicity on lottery winners, how many of them go broke after and how many of them make it out.
So what are your chances of winning the big prize? Experts say the odds of matching all 6 balls in any given draw, 1 in 45 million.
You know, prior to this, it was a paycheck to paycheck thing.
Was the lottery the worst thing that ever happened to you, or was the lottery the best thing that ever happened to you?
I would probably say...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Meeting Gold Show. We're back in season 2, of course, on the stage. And today, we've had an interesting introduction from Simon. Shout out to Simon. He is a great dude. Simon, what's your Instagram? Real Simon Romero. Check him out. He got us connected with a super cool guy who won the lottery last year.
Yes.
And is now starting a new business, a new passion, and pursuing that with everything in him. Chris Winterbottom.
Correct. You got
Chris
it.
Winterbottom,
Yep.
Welcome to the Meeting Gold Show.
Thanks, man. Like I said, I truly appreciate this. I'm honored. And this is, like, you got a beautiful setup, so welcoming.
Thank
and
you.
So comforting, man. I appreciate it.
You've probably had so many articles written on you, so we're going to try to cover what the articles didn't.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that they just covered the lottery, but
Yes.
I want to discuss why you are the way you are, what made you the person you are today, some of the lessons that you've learned, one including the lottery, but also why you are qualified to be a life coach today. So take me back to 10-year-old Chris. What are some things that I would need to understand about you just to start this interview?
Okay. 10-year-old Chris, that was a little while ago for me, but I come from a very large family. I have 8 siblings. My parents have been married now for over 60 years. 10-year-old Chris was friendly, kind, warm-hearted. I've always just cared about other people. It's been a big part of my life. I like to see other people smile before I'm smiling, kind of thing, right? It's all about what you put out in the world, right, is what comes back to you. So I was just, a 10-year-old kid. I was just a fun, get along with everyone, happy-go-lucky kid, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I had a large family, which has brought me multiple nieces and nephews. Kids have been a part of my life for a long time. I like seeing growth. The youth is a big part of my life. I have a 12-year-old son, and family is important to me, and with having a large family, you have many opportunities to, see other people grow, right, as well. So I've been blessed with my life for sure.
Yeah. One of the questions that we discussed prior to starting the show, and I immediately want to get into it because it is a deeper topic, but I think it deserves so much love, is luck. Do you believe in luck? You won the lottery. Do you believe in luck?
I do not believe in luck, no.
Can you expand?
I do not believe in luck just because it's all about the choices you make in your life, right? The opportunities come to you, and you either take a positive approach to it or you take a negative approach to it. Many opportunities come to you. You're blessed multiple times a day when you wake up, right? It's a blessing just to get out of bed and enjoy another day. So yeah, luck is not something I believe in. It's just like, when people say that's crazy, things aren't crazy. It's all reality, right? Like you experience it. How can it be crazy, right? Mm-hmm. It's all reality. My big saying is manifestation is reality, because like what you want in your life is there for you. You just have to go and get it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always easy, right? You get roadblocks, you get speed bumps thrown at you all the time. And it's just how you approach the outcome is what's going to come your way.
So it was meant to be who you are today.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I believe like your story is written when you're put here, and you have to choose the outcome of it. Is it a fairy tale or is it like a horror story, right? It's all about how you approach everything that comes across you.
Interesting. Your parents, you said they have a great relationship. Sounds like they've been married how long?
Over 60 years.
Jeez. I hope that I think I'm already too old to say that I've been married 60 years, but that's phenomenal. What were some of the things that they taught you at an early age to understand life in general? What were some of the reality kickers that you were taught?
Well, the big thing with having a large family is, I felt like I was raised by my siblings, right? I'm the second youngest, right? I have a brother who's in his 50s, right? So it's almost like he was a father figure to me as well. The best part about it, there's always someone around, right? You were never bored, right? There was always something to do. My parents just instilled, do unto others as you want to do unto you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a big thing, right? Like if you're happy and you're positive to everyone else, it's going to feed them to be positive back to you, right? And that's one of the biggest things that I would say really instilled in me by my parents, for sure.
Yeah. What did your family say when you did win the lottery?
There was lots of tears.
Of joy?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
For you?
For me, for my family, for sure. I tell people, it's like the messages I was getting from people, from friends, family, they were all stuff that you should hear on a regular basis, but unfortunately you don't, right? It's stuff, like I say, like you hear at a funeral, right? Like this person was so nice, this person was so good, but you don't hear that on your everyday life, right? Which you truly should, because that'll just like make your life that much better. So yeah, it was just tears of joy from everybody. There was a lot of, I can be a bit of a sarcastic guy sometimes. So there was some disbelief at first, for sure. But I will never forget my phone call to my mom. I worked in Burlington. So when I found out I was in Burlington, and I immediately left like my job that day I couldn't. There was too many. There was way too much emotion going on. I did bring my computer home with me with the intentions of working that day, but it just didn't happen. So yeah, I just called everybody on my way home for that 45-minute drive, and it was just there was literally just tears and joy from everybody that I spoke to.
Now, we discussed prior to starting the podcast, I made a point of saying, everybody thinks winning the lottery is like the one. You know what I mean when I say the one?
Yes.
Or something? Like
Yes.
it's the epitome of I am the luckiest man alive or something,
It's
right?
almost like a dream for everybody.
And it is. Like, I'm not going to complain if I won the lottery. What I do find interesting is a lot of people win the lottery throughout their life. Maybe it's not necessarily the money that they make.
Yes.
And so what experiences, other than winning the lottery, would you consider that you've had that are similar to winning the lottery?
Right. My answer to that would be my son, for sure. That was, I look at him as like, I don't like saying I won the lottery. It was a blessing. It was, it was almost like it meant to be, right? It was just, it was my journey, right? It was part of my story. It was meant to happen when I had no idea, but it did happen. But yeah, like my son for sure is a blessing, almost like winning the lottery. My family, obviously, there's so much in this world to be grateful for. Just even coming here, having this opportunity is something to be blessed. It's a blessing, right? It's almost like, every time like that comes, it's like a feeling of winning the lottery, right? Like a lot of people don't have opportunities like this, right? And you got to take advantage of it and just appreciate it and say thank you for everything, man. So like to say it was the extreme of winning the lottery, obviously you're like that feeling is not something that people don't feel on a regular basis, but my son ultimately I would say would be compared to winning the lottery.
Yeah. You know what I find interesting, and just an observation, I was talking to a gentleman this morning who had a heart attack while his brother was also diagnosed with cancer, who passed away, and in the same time that was happening, he was told that he wasn't going to make it out of his surgery.
Yes.
And his newfound appreciation for life that he made it out is what he would consider, I think, in a way, winning the lottery.
Yes.
In understanding how valuable life is.
Yes.
Would you say that would be a similar thing for you?
For sure. Like touching on that cancer thing, like my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time prior to me winning.
Really?
She finished her last round of chemo a month before I got this blessing. And you know, it was a very emotional. It was, you have thoughts of, you know, losing a parent, which obviously no one ever wants to have that thought in their head. And if my mindset wasn't shifted at that point, I don't know how I would have taken it. But yeah, things like that, you really have to appreciate like what life is all about, right? Because you don't know, any second something can happen where your life's completely shifted, either a positive way or a negative way. So it's like, having that new look on it, like you have another opportunity to do something great. Every time you wake up, you have a new opportunity to change the world. It can be small, it can be large, right? You just get those opportunities, and it's like winning the lottery, but people don't look at it that way.
I know, and that's what I find so interesting about this is when I met you and when we had that discussion, I immediately thought, wait a second. This gentleman, Alonzo, who we're having on as well, would consider that as he's actually thankful. Obviously, you wish he probably doesn't have a heart attack or, you know, unfortunately his brother passing away. But the idea that even your lowest pitfalls can be the biggest assets to life.
I'm glad you said that.
And the highest peaks can be the biggest assets to life. It's just all on how you look at it.
100%, yes. I always say, you know, the top of a mountain is the bottom of another, right? Like you conquer one and then you just keep conquering it, right? Like that's what you're here to do, right? You're not just here to just let the time go by and like not enjoy your life. You get one shot at it, right? Like why not take the greatest opportunity to make it great every day, right? Like it's so easy to live that way, but people make it so difficult, right? When it's literally your mindset. Like what's in there, what you put out is what literally comes back to you.
Now
I'm a prime example for it.
Yeah,
to be honest
literally.
with you.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, like my journey started when I literally wrote my intentions out. Like I wrote them out. I was talking to my sister one night, Meredith. I love you, Meredith. And she just said, you know, try this manifestation thing. Just try it out, right? She knew, like, you know, I wasn't saying I was living a horrible life, but it wasn't a free life. I didn't have that mindset of like everything's great, right? So I did this. I wrote my intentions out. My intentions were to show and give love to everyone, including myself, which is a very key part. You have to love yourself, to have an abundance of wealth and money to enjoy and share, to live life to the fullest, to always be positive, and to cherish time every second. Manifestation, December 14th, 2020 is when I started it. And I literally, when I was driving to Burlington, I would say it over and over and over again to myself, like out loud in the car, no music on, no radio playing. And same thing throughout the day. I would, you know, talk to God. I would, you know, just tell him what my intentions were. And literally I was blessed with all of those intentions at one time. Right.
That's incredible. People would call you crazy for saying that.
100% they would. 100% they would.
What would you say to somebody that said that?
It's reality. It's not crazy. Like it happened, right? But like you said, like you're blessed in many different ways. It doesn't have to just be with winning the lottery. You know, like I have a buddy, Brad. He's expecting his child, you know, in like a month or so. And I said that's your blessing. Like that's a blessing to you, right? It might not seem like you won the lottery, but once you have that baby in your hands, it's a whole different love, and it's something to really appreciate, right? And like it's just about catching those things and appreciating them. Be thankful for them. Thankful for those opportunities to have them. Because like I said, a lot of people live their life and don't get those opportunities at all.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, your family dynamic. Mm-hmm. There must have been some form of an adjustment in your family dynamic when you won, or no?
Not so much. I look at the adjustment, like I said, in myself. My faith is through the roof now. God is a major part of my life, which he wasn't before. The Bible's in my car. It travels with me. I have a cross in my pocket right now. It's that has really what accelerated me to this point in my life. Growing up with so many siblings, like it was obviously hard for my parents to keep track of 9 kids, right? Like it's hard for people to do it with 2.
I cannot imagine that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, like you think dinners, right? Like you're cooking dinners for 9 kids every night, right? Like it's a lot to handle, right? My older siblings, they went to like Sunday school, they did the church thing, but once it got to like myself or my younger sister, it wasn't really something that was, put onto us, right?
Yeah.
So, I did believe, obviously, when I was growing up, but not to the point I am now. Like, I pray throughout the day numerous times. I touch the Bible all the time. It's something that I've realized that that is what projected me to where I am today, and I'm not going to let that go. And I want other people to, it doesn't matter what you believe in, what religion you're a part of, just believe, right? Like there's a reason you're here, and just believe that that reason is great and powerful and it can be successful, right? So just follow that and go with it, man. Live literally your best life.
What was your hardest adult challenge in your life?
Definitely going through a separation custody battle with my son. It was, I don't like using the word, but it was hell, to be honest with you. Not knowing what's going to happen. Being a father was, something that I always wanted in my life. Like I said, I had kids around all the time, and it's something I was very proud of. And then I don't want to say it was ripped away from me, but the opportunity of seeing your child every day was not really an option anymore, right? So I would never wish that upon anybody. I know people go through it on a regular basis, and a lot of guys these days, they almost give up because it's so challenging for them, right? And it's costly as well, right? And there's always that thing, well, the mom's always right, the mom gets custody, this and that, and a lot of guys just don't put up the fight for it, and then they lose out on an opportunity of being a father, right? So that was definitely my biggest challenge. It was about a year and a half of emotional roller coaster for sure. I spent a lot of time with my lawyer, a lot of money, and it was great. It was something that I'd never want to go through again, for sure.
So the idea of it being unknowing.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And not having the choices to change it, really, right? Like it's up to someone else who's going to decide when you can be a father and when you can't, right?
Yeah. Which is crazy to think about.
Yes.
Your mental health in relation to that situation as well as the lottery. How did that change?
That's a good question. There was a lot of low points for sure going through that, a lot of them. But you have to just have that outcome thinking like, what is meant for me is meant for me, and it's going to be great, right? Whatever the outcome is. Obviously, I would like to have my son 100% of the time, but I don't have that opportunity. So when I do have him, I'm going to make it feel like 100% of the time, right? It's all, like I said, mindset's a huge part of this, right? Like you get beaten down every day with multiple things, and if you continue to let it beat you down, then unfortunately, like your life's going to go in the negative path, right? But you just have to keep your head up and just keep moving forward. Don't look back and learn from everything, right? Like everything happens to you for a reason, but what is that reason, right? Like my mom being diagnosed with cancer, why did that happen, right? My sister, Allison, was diagnosed with breast cancer not too long after my mom. So it was like, I look at it as my mom went through it. She's in her 80s. Like not too many people go through chemo, radiation at that point of their life, right? They almost say like, this is it, let me go, right? But she did it as an example for, I have 5 sisters. Who knows, they might go through it as well. Allison's going through it, and it gave her the strength and motivation to see like mom did it, like I can do it too, right?
Okay, I have a really good question for you that kind of falls on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this talk of good people, if you're a good person, if you're a bad person, these things are going to come to you. Why do bad things happen to good people, and why do good things happen to bad people?
Well, I would say bad things happen to good people because, like, the way my faith is now, I look at it as, you're challenged by, your spirit guides, God, whoever it may be, because you're about to do great things, right? You're about to, take off like a rocket ship, and you're battle tested to make sure you're ready for that, right? So you overcome those things, and it makes you stronger. You learn from it. You have more wisdom to go through certain things. And as for bad things or good things happening to bad people, I don't really know if there's really bad people in this world, right? Like, it's all about like. It's hard to say. There's greed, obviously, which is a big part of life. And, I don't look too highly on those people, but they make people think, well, money's bad, right? If, you have to money magnet. That's one of my biggest things I say to people all the time is, be a money magnet. Money will come to you, right? Money is not a bad thing. Money doesn't make the world go round, but money gives you opportunity. Money gives you freedom. Money gives you chance. Like I was able to donate a lot of my money, which I never thought in a million years I would ever have the opportunity to do that. And like that goes on to help many other people in the world, right? Which is something that was the greatest thing I think to come of this for me was to give back, you know, like I said, like to have an abundance of wealth and money to enjoy and share, right? Like that was a big part of it. Like you have to share it to keep it coming to you, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of publicity on lottery winners. How many of them go broke after, and how many of them make it out? And the majority of them do go broke, from my understanding.
Yes.
Now, was the lottery the worst thing that ever happened to you, or was the lottery the best thing that ever happened to you?
I would probably say both. Mentally, it was very draining. You know, like you wake up a completely different person, right? Like financially, right? Which is, I'd like to say, like it felt like you're living a dream, but you're actually in reality, right? Like you don't believe like it's actually true, but it is actually true. And then you just start having like silly thoughts in your head of, you know, people know who you are now, right? They know you have money. People are gonna be coming after you. I want this, I want that. Remember me from high school, like stuff like that. But that literally never happened to me, not once. Like I said, all the things that people were saying to me were all great things. Like, you deserve this more than anybody. I'm so happy for you. Like, yeah, it was like not one person came out and asked me for anything. But like I said, mentally, it was draining big time. Because it's like a process, right? Like you realize, okay, I have the ticket, right? I have to go and claim it, right? And then you claim it, and then you have to wait a few days before you actually get the money. And then, you know, you go to Toronto, and then going through that whole, it's an interview process, you know, it's very stressful. They ask you a lot of questions. And then
What are you going to do with the money? Like, all that
yeah,
stuff?
like, or do you have siblings that work for OLG, or like, where did you buy the ticket? Have you been doing this?
Oh,
like,
I see.
It's all like, it's a very, you go through like 3 interviews, process to get the money. And then you literally get a check, like a check that
you just deposit.
That you just deposit. So then you're driving home from Toronto with $2 million in your pocket. You know what I mean? It's it's like, okay, I got to get to the bank, right? And then yeah, it was a process, and that took like, you know, about a week or so to go through that. Somebody called in and canceled going to get their money, so they called me and said, "Hey, we have an opening. Do you want to come and get it?" And I was like, pardon my English, family, but fuck yeah, I'm gonna get my money. So yeah, no, it was a blessing and a curse almost, because like you have to be prepared for it. You know, touching back to my sister Meredith, she sent me pictures from journaling. She journals a lot. She's big into, you know, manifestation, like I said, and she had written in her journal from that I was going to win the lottery one day. And this was like prior to me actually winning. So that's what I said. Like, I feel like your story is written for you. Like it's there, right? And you just got to take it and enjoy it. So she sent me the pictures not too long ago of in her journal, and it was like dated months before I even won, you know, lottery money, giving back. Like, it was all just random things like that. And like I said, the path was paved. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but it happened.
Yeah. What was it like depositing that check?
It was
$2
amazing.
million.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I walked in there, and
What did the clerk say to you?
it was in the evening, so I don't know. I feel like this was like a part-time teller. It was a younger girl, and her mouth hit the floor. And you know, I have a brother-in-law who's a lawyer, so I talked to him a lot going through this process. You know, it's a government issued check. They don't hold it. There's no hold on it whatsoever. It literally all goes into your bank account. So she said to me, she's like, "Well, I think we're going to have to hold this and sign it." And I said, "No, actually, you don't hold it. Like, it all goes in my account." So then she went and got the manager, and, you know, it was like a celebration. Everyone was super happy. It was funny because once, like, when I won, I had that ticket, right? And that's kind of the freaky part, because you literally have, like I said, $2 million in your hand. Yeah, right? It's like, I can't lose this thing. Like, I got to do something with it. So I went and got a safety deposit box at the bank. And
you put the ticket inside the safety deposit
yeah,
box. You put a piece of paper inside of a metal box.
Yeah, and it's funny because the sign on the door says like you can't deposit, you can't put like money in there, currency, right? It's all just like valuable stuff, gold or whatever it may be. So I said, well, like, is this considered money? Because they didn't know what I was putting in there, right? And then there was 2 people in there with my brother Michael. He took me, and it was like a celebration. Like I said, everyone was just so happy. Every time I go in the bank now, they all obviously know who I am from that moment, and it's just very friendly. But that experience, it was breathtaking for sure. Like, I was looking forward to all those moments, right? Like, once I did have this blessing put in my lap, literally, I had goals set out. You know, like I coached my son's basketball team. I wanted to buy the team basketball shoes, right? Like that was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to donate. I wanted to buy a house. And these are all things that I had lined up knowing what I was going to do with it. So like I looked forward to those moments, right? Like
seeing the smile on their faces when you bought them all basketball shoes.
Yeah. Just that experience, you know, going to Foot Locker at the Penn Center, it was like we shut the store down and just let the kids just, you know, like I can tell you, I literally never thought I would even have that opportunity to do that, right? So there's things to look forward to, right? Like I said, even donating to the Cancer Society for my mom, it was another thing like that. If anyone say what was the greatest moment of all this, it was definitely that. Our family name is in the hospital. I got a plaque made. And that was another thing. I didn't even know my mom was going through radiation yet. She finished her chemo. We thought, okay, she's in the clear. So I was dealing with the guy at the hospital, and he said, well, the best ways we can put it is in the radiation center. I was like, okay, she didn't do radiation, but that's cool, right? Don't we get a phone call a couple of days later? Oh, you have to do radiation, right? So every time she went, she would get to pass, you know, the Winterbottom family plaque. And she said that motivated her to get through what she was going through. So it's just stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's obviously nice having the money, the freedom, but it's the gratitude you get from giving back, right? Like it was meant for me to be blessed, my son to be blessed, my family to be blessed, but it was also meant for me to bless so many other people with this opportunity, right?
So I want to start transitioning into your newfound career, your newfound passion. Did you quit your job after winning the lottery?
Not immediately. Even my job, like my best friend Brad, his dad owned the company that I worked for. I worked there for 14 years. His dad ended up selling it, so we went corporate. So it was a bit different. It wasn't the same family atmosphere. Everyone that I worked with, I loved. Everyone was there for long periods of time. So my plan was not to leave at all. My financial guy, we set up a plan to retire when I was 45, right? So, you know, put in another 7-8 years and then retire and just live my life, right? So I kept going and going and going every day. One day, man, it just hit me literally in my heart, and it was just like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing anymore. Do what you're meant to do. Do what gives you gratitude. Do what gives you thanks. You know. So that's when I had to give my 2 weeks notice. It just wasn't, you know, I was commuting still too, right? I'm thinking like it's less time with my son. I'm driving back and forth 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. It was just starting to be a lot. Like, why am I doing this when I don't have to be doing it anymore, right? Like before I had to do it to pay the bills, to get by, but I didn't have to do that anymore. I started seeing things on TikTok, life coaching. It seemed to really take off through there for some reason. And I had no idea what life coaching even was. Like I said, I coach sports, which I love, but I realized that coaching is not what I thought it was, right? Like coaching, you think, oh, I'm here to like show you how to do things, and like you go and do it. But coaching's actually is about like asking questions, like what and how questions to get those answers from inside that person, right? To not show them what they have to do, to let them find what they have to do, right? So I took that leap of faith, and I said, you know, I'm quitting my job and I'm going back to school. Like I said before, school was not a thing for me at all. But I took it way more serious this time than I did when I was in high school or university, because I knew like you can't go wrong with educating yourself, no matter what it may be, right? So I took a course. It was Rhodes Wellness College in British Columbia. It was all 9. Another great experience of my life. I didn't realize I would be showing so much emotions in that. There's a lot of tears for sure. You know, you have to be the client in that situation as well, right? You're training with people. So, you know, stuff comes up from your past, whatever it may be, that was just, you know, it was tough to bring up, obviously, but it was something I needed to do for sure. And I'm so glad I did it. And I'm just looking forward to like where this takes me now.
Yeah. So what, after winning, that level of comfort you got financially, obviously must have played some form of a role in your ability to change jobs, to change careers.
Yes.
So now helping people, this idea of becoming a life coach, what in your past makes you qualified to relate with people to be a life coach?
Well, like I said, even that question from when I was 10-year-old, I was always just, about making other people happy, making other people smile, helping other people out, right? Like that's what life coaching is. Like people have, obstacles. I don't like to call them problems because, like they're just things you can overcome, right? Like there's issues that come up, whether it be relations, career, whatever it may be. And I just want to see literally everyone in this world succeed, right? And if I can have the smallest impact on someone's life to help them get to that point, I will take that opportunity any day for sure. So just seeing people grow and helping them, set goals and make their life better is it's almost like winning the lottery, to be honest with you. Just that feeling inside, right? The gratitude and just being thankful for having an impact on someone else's life, like a positive one, right? So that is what qualified me, I think, was just having that mindset of, just helping others, like watching people smile
Yeah.
and just want everyone just to have a great life, right?
So we talked about the qualification. I want to ask you your relationship with your son. Where does that sit now after winning and now becoming a life coach and having a lot more understanding for people in general and emotional intelligence?
It's funny, like with my son, I will never forget telling him, obviously. It's funny, like months prior to this, I just have memories that pop up in my head. Like I saw a brand new Corvette one day, this guy driving it. And I pulled over and I went and talked to the guy. And after I got back in the car, my son was there. And I said, one day I'm going to own one of those cars. Like that was my mindset, which I never thought I would ever have, right? And the first thing he said to me when I told him about the money, he said, Dad, he's like, we're millionaires. You can finally buy that Corvette you always wanted, right? So like things like that stuck in his head. And he realizes like, that's something I want and I'm going to get it, right? And now I have the opportunity to get it, which I never thought I would ever have before. He's getting older. Our relationship is still solid as it can be, for sure. He's my main man 100%. But he's getting to that age, right? He's 12, he's getting to that age where it's like almost cooler to not hang out with your parents, right? I'm sure you've gone through it. We all go through it, right? Your friends are more important. He can sit in his room and for a day and just not even really communicate with me because he's hanging out with his friends, right? So, I've been really trying to instill on him, about my mindset, and about why this all happened, right? And, just be positive. I always say to him, one of the things I always say is a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
You say that quote?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Who told me it was from the Money Buys Happiness podcast that I heard them say, closed mouths don't get fed.
Mm-hmm. When people look at that as like, well, obviously, if you don't open your mouth, you can't eat. But that's not it, right? It's about, if you don't ask questions, you don't speak up, no one's going to do it for you, right? Your brain is just going to sit there and just be still. Whereas you ask the questions, you get the wisdom, your brain is getting fed from that, right? And that is my big thing with him. Confidence, he's not always been the most confident kid. He's very quiet. But like I tell him all the time, like you just got to speak up. You got to be yourself, and your brain will get fed off that, right? And that's a big thing for people, right? Is like a confidence is a big thing. People don't speak up. People don't ask questions. People are always living for someone else, right? Well, what if I do this, what's this person going to think, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to like, who cares what they think, right? Like this is your life, man. Just live it, right?
So the idea now that money, because I agree with you, is there a sense in you that money's isn't as hard to get
Yes.
now?
Yes.
Do you think that's a positive or negative?
I look at it as a positive.
Okay.
Because, prior to this, it was a paycheck to paycheck thing. It's almost like, I don't like using this word either, but I had a hate for money. You know what I mean? Like it was like, why don't I have more of it? Why is it always gone? Right. And now having it makes you realize that it's actually a really good thing, right? It's a really good thing to have it. Like I said, it gives you freedom, gives you opportunities. It gives you connections to people that you never thought you would connect to before. And like, I want him to see that as well. My son, right? Is like, money is something that you want. It's not a need per se, but it's something that you want to have, right? To live that ultimate life.
So talking about your life coaching now, I really want to dive into what are like some of the lessons that you're going to do your best to teach. If there's one thing you could say to somebody to understand based on your past experiences, what would you say?
No matter what you've gone through in your life, you can always make it better, right? And it's just a matter of, making it better on your own. Like I said, no one's going to live your life for you, right? You have to live it on your own. Do you want to have a super awesome life, or do you want to have a shitty one, right? It's pretty much what your options are. So I would like to think a lot of people are going to want to live a super awesome life, right? So it's just about, like I said, asking those questions, finding out what, is this actually something that core beliefs are a big thing with it, right? People always say you should live your life like you're a kid, right? Because you weren't affected by like history back then or like things that you go through. The older you get, you get your subconscious kicks in a lot, right? And tries to keep you safe from certain things. Whereas like, leaving my job was one of the hardest things I had to do. And it was because my subconscious was pulling me back and saying like, no, this is something you're used to. You're comfortable here. Don't take that leap. You don't know what's on the other side, right? If I didn't, I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing now, which is like, I'm so glad I took that leap. But so many people are scared to, change, right? But change is obviously a great thing, right?
Change is, especially when it's forced on you like it was with the lottery and that kind of thing. I do find it interesting. Yeah, change was forced on you. There was no choice that you had. I mean, maybe, and this is kind of ties into my next question is, you're manifesting, you believe that you would win the lottery. You didn't know exactly what the amount was. And I believe in an article it said you thought you won $2,000, but you won $2 million. I want to ask you, what are you manifesting for now if you still are?
I'm still seeing those same intentions that I was the entire time. Even though it was that's what I've received, I still say it. Even just the smallest things of like saying like, I'm beautiful, I'm handsome, I can do great things in this world. It's just, there's nothing like connecting to the universe, I feel. And faith, like there's nothing like it. There's literally always someone there to listen, to believe, right? And I still, like, I will spend hours at night just looking up at the sky and just talking and just being so thankful for everything and just giving me the opportunities to do great things for people, right? And it's just, that's my manifestation is just, the same thing as it was before. Like I didn't change that. That's what got me here. Why change it, right?
So what's one thing that somebody else can do, tying in now your life coaching, let's get some free advice here. What's one thing that somebody can do to begin working on their mindset each and every day, even if it's just inching closer to a better mindset? What's something that somebody could take action on right now?
I would personally say to your intentions, to write. I believe there's a stat somewhere that's saying once you write something out, it's like 40 or 42% more effective to happen if you actually write it out. But it's not just writing it out and throwing it and never seeing it again, right? It's writing it out and looking at it and reading it and understanding why you're doing that, like why your intentions are what they are, and set goals. You know what I mean? If you're going through something, set goals. Like why do you want it to be the other way, right? And how can you get there? Like what's that approach? Like I said, literally the answers are inside of you. You just have to pull them out, right? Yeah. You have to pull them out, whether it be by people asking the questions or whether it be you asking yourself. The big thing with me was, like I said before this all started, when I was talking about my intentions, I said, like, my sister said, just pick a super random object and say, like, show me this, right? To believe that, there is actually spirit guides out there, someone's watching over you, angels, whatever it may be. So my object was a bright yellow lemon is what I asked for. Super random. I have no idea why
that's
I asked.
Very random.
Very random. And honestly, one day at work, I was working there for almost 14 years. And one day at work, I found a bright yellow lemon in the sink that I've never seen in my life before at my job. And it was sitting there. So it kind of stuck for a minute. And I was like, okay, it's just by chance, right? That's not what's going on here. Next day, same thing. There was a lemon in the sink again. So at that point, it's kind of setting in, right? Like this is real. Like this is actually something's listening to you. And so after that point, I started saying thank you for giving me the opportunity, right? It wasn't like, please show me. It was thank you for showing me this, right? Like you said, people will call you crazy for that stuff, right?
Yeah,
like,
they do. And what's interesting is, books like Think and Grow Rich talk about manifestation a lot and the power of your mind. And a lot of people downplay it, but I find a lot of those people aren't where they want to be.
Yes. And they don't believe. You have to believe, right? Do you believe in magic?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's there, right? Do you believe in, the spirit, the universe? Like, why are we here? Why are you here? Right?
It's like having an unwavering self-confidence that X can happen.
Yes. Exactly.
Whatever that X may be.
Yes. And X will always happen as long as you put your mind to it.
Keep working towards that.
Exactly. Yes.
So, Chris, as we kind of wrap up our time here today, I want to ask you one final question. Well, I guess two. But my question is, what's advice you have for somebody that is wishing they just won the lottery tomorrow because they're living paycheck to paycheck? What's that advice that you have?
I would say be thankful for what you have right now, right? Be grateful for those opportunities to wake up and change your life. You know, just be thankful for everything that comes your way. Like, if you're not thankful, then you don't appreciate things, right? And are you going to be able to appreciate winning the lottery if it actually happens to you, right? Like you said, a lot of people that win those lotteries, they lose it all or they spend it all, and it's because they're not prepared for it, right? They don't appreciate what comes their way. My biggest thing is cherish time. Like, literally every second of your life, cherish it, because the next second you don't know if it's going to be there or not, right? So just cherish it. And biggest thing, honestly, is just give thanks. Thanks for everything that comes your way. Even when I was like, I played the same numbers for 7 years, right? If I won $2, if I lost, I would still say thank you for that opportunity that I could still purchase those tickets, or thank you for that opportunity of that $2. Like, I would still say thank you. Even when you're losing, still say thank you, because you lost for a reason and you're supposed to grow from that, right?
Right.
Learn from it. And just, like I said, honestly, be thankful for everything. That's my biggest thing, and have confidence that what you want will come your way.
Chris, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram, CWB_coaching, Facebook, Chris Winterbottom. I'm out there. Just look me up. And unfortunately, a lot of the things you find out when you Google me are based on the lottery. But yeah, all the information is there, and I'm open to talk to anybody. My target audience going into this was going to be youth. I feel like the youth need people.
They do. They really do.
They really, really do, more than anything. It's been stuck in my head that I'm going to create a generational movement. What that is, I don't know yet. But the youth need it more now than ever. And I'm seeing it with kids on the basketball team. Like I said, their confidence level is so low. And they're always worried about, like I said, what other people are thinking about them. And it's unfortunate that they live that way. But it's a lot of like social media and obviously stuff like that has played that part too,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, man, I'm here for anybody.
Yeah, and what I love is part of what we talked about today really goes to show, because I think being a life coach is a very general topic, and you need to show that you have an understanding of life and what really goes into it and your appreciation for it.
Yes.
And it's how valuable it is.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm glad that we discussed today is that you showed me how much you should appreciate life, whether it's riding the highs or riding the lows, which you both entailed, and you both you experienced both of which were horrible. Divorce, unknowingness from separation from your son, your mother being diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah,
sister, like that is by far some of the worst things that you can think of. And on top of that, you also won the lottery.
Yes.
Which is the best and worst thing that ever happened to you. And I'm really glad that we touched on that, because it's crucial for somebody to be talking to you to understand your life story.
Yes.
And feel more comfortable in that sense, and how to appreciate life.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because even going through that course for life coaching, you know, you're hearing stories of stuff that people went through that are absolutely horrible things that they experienced in their life. And people would be like, well, like, how is that person going to be a good life coach for me? It's because they experienced it, right? Like they know what you're going through, and they know that there is a great outcome from it, right? But it's just about how you approach it. Positivity, man, it's a major thing in life, and appreciation. And like, I truly appreciate this opportunity. I really do.
Of course. Simon bringing it up was really cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And like I said, I heard nothing but great things about you. And,
Thank you.
And like, I appreciate things like this, because a lot of people don't have that opportunity. And why not appreciate it, right? Like, it's something, this is super cool.
You're one of 60, I think, in the last year that have had the opportunity. So,
well, compared to the lottery, it was a 1 in 14 million chance.
Hey, there you go.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, which is bonkers to think of, man.
That is really crazy.
But yeah, if you really want something, whether it be the lottery, whatever it may be, a great life, you just put your mind to it. Keep thinking that you're going to have it, because it's literally in your hands. It's all within your reach.
Beautiful.
Just grab it.
Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For all listening, I hope you enjoyed this episode and at least learned a little bit of appreciation for your life and where you're at. I want to say thank you again, and make sure to subscribe, like, and comment for more episodes like this. We'll see you guys later.